Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dear Hallmark. My name is Dara, and this is your safe space where we can talk about all things Hallmark Channel. And I am so pleased, I am so thrilled, I am so honored, I am so privileged to have as our first guest this countdown to Christmas, Miracles of Christmas season, the wonderful, the talented, the cheery, the bright, the warm, the friendly. Miss Brittany Bristow. Ma'am, thank
Oh
you so
my
much.
God.
Thank you.
What an introduction. I feel like I'm smiling so hard the back of my head hurts.
It's all true. It's all true. The lady has been booked and busy, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to get into all of that later on in this episode. But first, I just want to ask, and I know I asked you this offline, but I just want to ask you again, just because you've done a lot since you've last been on here. The last time you were on here, we talked about the Love Club. This is before
Mhm.
it had aired, but now, like you, and we're gonna get into it. You've done Love Club, Just Jake. You've written. You're married. Like it's just like so much has happened. Like how are you doing?
I am great. I am in the constant stage of, I think I said this last time, but just full pinching myself every
Mhm.
2 to 3 days to remind myself that I am awake. This is my life. I'm not dreaming, though it feels like I am all the time. Um, I'm happy. I feel so lucky. I'm just like I don't know. I'm excited for the next thing, but I'm also like really trying to just be so present in the joy and the excitement of everything happening when it's happening because I'm trying not to make time go too fast.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, I'm great. I'm honest. I'm great.
I'm so happy. And just to see, like, I can feel it because, like, I'm smiling now and my cheeks hurt just watching you talk about it. Like, I just, I was watching back one of the first interviews you and I did together and just hearing about your journey. And then hearing that now, it's just, I feel like, you know how it's like when your friend is like achieving their dreams and it's like, oh, it feels like we all are, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I love that. I love that so much. And I'm so happy for you that you're able to get to do that. And I think it's so beautiful. It's so
That means
beautiful.
the world to me. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So I was thinking about an icebreaker question, right? I was like,
Mhm.
what am I gonna ask Brittany? Like what? And I remember us our last conversation, we talked about like what you were listening to. And I was like, well,
Oh,
let's keep into that same vein, but kind of flip it. So, Brittany, if you had to describe yourself as a genre of music, what would that
oh.
genre of music be?
Huh. Hmm. That
It's
is
it really
such an
does.
excellent question, and I am like the most stumped because my brain immediately said folklore, and I don't know why.
Funny
I,
enough,
I don't think I,
that was the music you were listening to when you were last on here was folk music. Like that was the vibe you were in at that point.
yeah, it's weird. It's like, why is that a thing? Is it just because it's November 1st and I'm looking outside and it's windy and sad out there? I don't know. But also then my brain was like, don't say that. Say like crazy hyper EDM because you're insane. Um, so So I'm not quite sure, but let's go with a hybrid of like, I don't know, club mixes of folk music.
Let's do it.
Like
I
Taylor
like
Swift
that.
remixes, you
Let's
know?
do it. I like that. What about EDM remixes of folk music?
Yeah, no, I'm here for that. That sounds like a terrifying music genre, but I'm here for it and I will claim it. So for all of you who have never wanted that, you're welcome.
There
It's
it
here
is.
now.
You have no choice.
Yeah, it's a
No, I
thing
love
now.
it. I love
So,
it.
yeah,
I love that.
just
I
just throw Noah Khan into like into a DJ.
Ooh,
I don't know if it would be good, but
ooh.
we'll find out maybe.
This is why I love answering this question because it's always interesting to see how people see themselves.
Mhm.
I also do the podcast for my firm, and that's how I found the icebreaker question. And
That's amazing.
I asked someone that same question, and they had like a similar response. They're like, they had to, because you have to separate the genre that you listen to and really
Hmm.
think about, okay, what about your personality actually makes up
Yeah.
that, that reflects that genre of music. So
Yeah, I think I'm a bit of the two. I can be super calm and introspective, and then I can also be a bit of a nutcase.
yeah.
Oh, I feel like they work well.
Yeah, I love that. I love
I'm
that.
a
And
You know that Instagram video where it's like I have three personalities and that's it, and it's the Bo Burnham songs of like
yes,
I do everything all of the time. I'm that song. That is me. I'm that Instagram. That is I. I'm
that's
either
your
like
personality.
just like zoned out like on I don't know on Mars inside my brain, or I am like cleaning 12 different things at the same time, doing 17 loads of laundry and like memorizing auditions. So
Listen, you're layered. You're like an onion. Isn't that what Shrek said? You're like
mm,
an onion. So
I'm,
I feel like that
yeah,
tracks.
very oniony.
That's-
Not great when I'm raw, but when you cook me up and make a tasty soup, I just need a little salt and maybe some sugar. I don't know. Some
you're
thyme.
already sweet. No, there's
Ah,
already sugar in there because you're already sweet. So we're good on that. Uh-huh.
oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. So, like I said earlier, Brittany, the last time you were here, the Love Club wasn't out yet. You were promoting it, but it has come out. And so I just kind of wanted, if you remember, because again, you've done so much within this last year. Like how does it feel with that collection of movies being out? Because it went straight to streaming. Like that was one of the first things that they started putting things on the streamer, and at that point it was called Hallmark Movies Now. So I feel like that was their first kind of foray into really putting things on the streamer first and then showing it on the channel, because I think it got a Memorial Day, like they did like a marathon, I believe, on Memorial
Yeah, we
Day
did a
of last
full
year.
marathon. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was that like for you, like the reception? Just like talk
Oh,
about that whole experience.
man, that was so much fun. And like getting to build those characters and having time to sort of sit in them was really enjoyable. And then getting to see everybody watch them and like cheer for these friendships was really fun. I thought it was just such a cute and sort of understandable group of women. And I think what was really cool about them was they were all going through slightly different things, but they were all still connected, even though they were at different places in their lives and dealing with different aspects of romance and falling in love and transition and everything. And I think it was such a fun series. And I'm so glad that it's sort of like continuing in and on its own. I know the Love Club Moms is done filming, and
Woo woo.
that is gonna be a new series with new women, and I think it's gonna be really exciting to see that as well. Marcus and I might pop up, but you don't know.
Speaking of
Okay, yeah, I think
Marcus,
I spoiled this.
I was
It's
gonna
kind of
say,
funny. It's kind of funny. So we did our Love Club,
yes.
and then in the movie that I wrote, Marcus was in it with Ashley Newbro. And then I came home and Ashley Newbro is in the new Love Clubs. And then Marcus and I perhaps show up in Ashley's movie. So now we're trying to figure out like, okay, Marcus and I are going to work together again, or like Ashley and I are going to do a movie and then like Marcus needs to be a cameo. Like we just need to be like a little trio of cameos in each other's stuff.
There's a universe forming here that we have to give it a
Mhm.
name, because now it's like there's like a multi
It's
universe of
confusing.
something.
Marcus and I have fallen in love twice now. Ashley and Marcus have fallen in love twice now. One of those romances for each of us was in a series that somehow connected, and then they fell in love in one that I wrote. And ugh, so much. We're so connected, the three of us.
Which, not to get ahead, but you and Marcus will be in another Christmas movie on Lifetime towards the end of the year, engaged
We
for
sure will be.
Christmas. But that's just a little teaser. We'll talk about that later. But after Love Club, you had Just Jake, that premiered on Up TV, which, if I could say, that's probably my favorite of yours, Brittany. I love that
Really?
no, I'm so serious. That
Thank
was my
you.
favorite of yours. First of all, I loved you, and you gave me like these like the hipster barista. Like I love that vibe for you, for the character that
Thank
you
you.
put. Like I loved it so much. And I don't think we got a chance to talk about it. Can you talk a little bit about your experience filming Just Jay? Because I know Brandon Clark was the director and he's very as much as he's in this made for TV romance space, he's very adamant about not giving it normal made for TV movie qualities in terms of
Yeah.
cinematography and things like that.
Oh,
So what was it like working with him on this project?
we had such a blast. I mean, so Brandon and I had been talking about this project for, I think, like an entire year almost was when,
Wow.
when he first brought it to me. And so I was really excited about it happening. And it was sort of this, I don't know, it was like a little bit scary for me because I love to sing, but I'm not somebody who is out there singing or writing songs or putting my voice out there.
Mhm.
And I was suddenly like, oh, I'm gonna be full on like in a recording studio for this movie. And that is very cool and
Mm.
very so I actually worked with his mom, who is a vocal coach. And we did like Zoom classes for like 6 weeks leading up to, and I got to work with her, and she's incredible. And his dad, Jeffrey Clark, also worked on the film, and he is an incredible cinematographer. I mean, that man's career has spanned decades. I'm like, they come from like Hollywood royalty, really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he has a very specific way of doing things. He really wants things to feel cinematic, and I really respect that. I think it's really fun to sort of push how beautiful you can make something feel.
Yeah.
And we had more time to work on the project too. It wasn't like one of those quick, 6 day weeks, 2.5 weeks of shooting, and then you're bing bang boom done. That it was
Oh, how
we
long
had
was this
more
one?
time. I think it took us 18 days to shoot Just Jake, and normally the structures are like 12 to 15.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, so having 3 extra days, even though it doesn't sound like a ton of time, it's a lot of extra space to sort of get to sit in scenes and sit in moments and rehearse
Yeah.
stuff and really
Yeah.
take your time. So it was really nice to have that, and working with Rob was amazing. And I mean, I'm so grateful that I had the two of them and everyone who was a part of the recording situation because right before going in, we got a new draft of the song, I guess, like a
Mm.
new draft for me, kind of. So like the harmonies and everything changed, and I wanted so badly to do a good job, but I was so anxious because I was like, oh my gosh, I've been learning this song for like 6 weeks, and now I have to figure out new harmonies like 20 minutes before I'm
Mm.
recording it. I was so scared and so nervous and so like embarrassed, which I'm embarrassed by the fact that I was embarrassed. But I got in the studio, and we had the most wonderful man there helping us with it, who was one of the teachers at the high school. This high school is like nothing I've ever seen before in my life. It was like a castle. It was like the biggest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. It's like, how is this a high school? This is insane. They have a $3 million recording studio in it. Who goes to school here? Can I go back to high school
Right.
and go to school here? Excuse me. Anyway, so we were in this recording studio that was like the most beautiful recording studio of all time. And I'm so nervous, and I'm singing into the mic, and I was like, oh my gosh, 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 I'm so scared. And I look up, and Rob is just like jumping up and down, cheering me on. Brandon's like, you got this. You're so good. And I was like, oh, okay, I can do it. And then I like got through it, and they were like cheering and like jumping up and down. And I was like, guys, thank you. They were like, no, you're rocking this. So it was just like I had felt like I had like such a group of cheermen to help me along
I
the
love
way.
that.
And yeah, building the character was super fun. Brandon and I talked about her a ton, and we were sort of like, okay, how do we want her to feel? How do we want her to exist? How do we want her to sort of be? And I think a lot of that was just like a calm confidence and not needing to be anything for anyone. And
Mhm.
I think that's sort of like where the wardrobe came from. And she sort of has this like, she's still kind of cool. She still works with high school kids. She's so certain of what she wants. She's not like trying to be anything she's not. And I think that's why Jake and Amber work so well, is because he's spent his whole life trying to be somebody he's not. And she spent her whole life being exactly who she is. And she realizes that she needs to make space for people when they see their own fault. And he realizes that without her, he's just pretending. And I
Mm,
think it's really kind of fun. And she becomes his safe space to be exactly who he is again, because she always was. He just never thought it was enough. So I think there's something really beautiful about that. And the like the ease and the sort of coolness of her clothing and everything, I think really fits well within who she is.
mm.
So it's sort of like this whole thing. She just felt well-rounded, I guess.
Yeah, definitely like approachable,
Hmm.
relatable,
Hmm.
tangible. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I can feel that. I can be that. Um,
Hmm.
when you were talking about Robin and Brandon cheering you on, it made me think. I had a conversation with another actor, and we talked about the importance of community around you and finding your community in the
Hmm.
industry because there can be a lot of like glittery, gilded, very fake, phony,
Hmm.
surfacey people,
Yeah.
situations, circumstances. And hearing about Rob and Brandon cheering you on, I wanted to ask you, do
Mhm.
you feel like you found your community in the film industry that kind of keeps you grounded and kind of protects you from all of the phoniness? And B, if you have, how like I know people don't think about like what the process is to
Mhm.
find that, but kind of just if you could like talk about what it was like finding those people that you keep around
Mhm.
you that keep you grounded.
Yeah, it's funny. I think, I grew up in this industry. I started acting when I was 6, so it's always been a part of my life, and I was very lucky to have family in the industry that really sort of helped me have a guard up, I think,
Mm,
at an early age, which I think was way more necessary when I was a little kid than it is now, because inherently as we age, we have our own little walls. But
hmm
um, as a little kid, sort of protecting me from all of that was really huge. And then, I think what's funny for me is I've never I've never looked to acquire people based on what they do. So I think for me, it didn't matter if my friends were friends from the film industry or people I met at a coffee shop or anything like that. It was, who are the people that are going to lift me up and make me the best version of myself. And I
hmm
think that's the thing, is that like there are really incredible people who I've become incredibly close with within the industry who are those people, absolutely. But it's also like Dustin is one of those people, and he
hmm
doesn't work in the industry. He does something completely different, but he reminds me of my strength when I need reminding of my strength. And he reminds me that I need to work hard when I'm frustrated.
hmm
And I'm lucky. I do have a handful of really good friends who are a part of the industry, but I think the thing that we've always bonded over, the friends that I have within the industry, is that what we do doesn't define us,
mm
and it's who we are that matters most. So whether you're Brad Pitt or a volunteer at a homeless shelter, make sure that who you are inside is just as bright and just as strong, because ultimately staying grounded and staying true to yourself is understanding who you are and doing the best you can to be a good person. So for me, it's like, while I have found that, it's not necessarily that I've found it just within the industry. I've found it within the people I've surrounded myself with. And it can be really challenging because you can meet people and think, oh my gosh, this person's going to be my best friend for the rest of my life.
mm
in the industry because there is that ease and you're in these positions where you open up so quickly and unfortunately that's not always the case. And sometimes it is. And when it is, it's really beautiful. And I really live by the statement, you have friends for a reason, a season, and a lifetime.
Hmm.
And I always try to approach it where, if there's somebody that's been a part of my life and there's a distance and that continues to grow, then they were there for a reason or they were there for a season. And I can be really grateful for the beauty that I got from that. But it's funny, I actually heard something this morning. Do you know the like red and green flag guy on Instagram who like honey roasts people? He's like, you, my guy, are a green flag. And he's like, oh, this is so
Oh,
sweet.
yes,
That
yes,
guy?
yes.
Okay, so he said something really beautiful. I saw it on a video this morning where he said that at when he was young, he had a friend who he felt like was distancing a bit, and I guess they went to new schools or something. I don't remember exactly what the story was, but he started like not laughing at their inside jokes and like not calling as much. And he called his grandma, and his grandma said, when you feel distance in your heart, take a step back and see how long it takes someone to fill that distance
Mm.
and or to close that distance. And he said, and he never called me again. He never reached out again. And I think that's something that I have learned in my lifetime. I know I'm sort of like straying from the original question, but it is one of those things where for me, I give everything I can to the people that I love. I give everything to people who are a part of my life. I always will, to my downfall. But it is one of those things where when that distance does start to show up, I always allow it to exist because I
Mm.
think if it's there for a reason. And the people that have stayed, the people that are the closest people to me, are all the people that remind me I'm worth fighting for, remind me of my value, remind me of who I am. And and I think that's been really integral for me as I've grown and been a part of this industry. And I'm very grateful to have the people that I have.
I love that.
It's a very, I'm sorry.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing because I
Mhm.
of a young lady and I at my job without well whatever. So we were talking about writing, right? Because I don't work in what I mean, I got an English degree, so like you can say I'm doing something with my degree, but like it doesn't fulfill me. Not that my job has to, but it kind of makes it harder to go to work because I don't like the work in and of itself, take it or leave it. But I do enjoy the people there.
Right.
And I'm saying all that to
Yeah.
say this young lady and I had a conversation and she was telling me about she found out I was a writer, so she wanted to talk shop about writing. She was talking about how she wanted to get into screenwriting, but
Mhm.
how she was a little bit like she withdrew from that and kind of stepped back from it because of the horror stories she's heard about like like disingenuous or very inauthentic connections and relationships that people
Yeah.
often have within that industry. And she said that coupled with fame, she was like, that's not what I want. So now she's trying to kind of pivot and see how she can maybe in an anonymous way still have a career for herself in screenwriting or
Mhm.
playwriting,
Mhm.
while not
There's
having to
always
deal
pen
with that.
names.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. Or you can just ghostwrite and then never
yeah,
actually.
100%. It's so true.
And speaking of writing, you actually wrote
It's perfect timing because Dustin literally just walked in to our house. And I knew, I was like, he's gonna walk in and this is gonna be the transition to talk about our movie.
it's hilarious. Hey Dustin, how you doing?
I try to stay out of the frame. Trying to be a good house husband and stay out of the frame, stay out of the sound.
He's gonna peek. He's gonna peek.
Want to
There
just do
you
one
go.
of these things. Or
I
I'm a
can't.
floating. Hi,
Dustin, everybody.
how are you? I don't know. I've never done that before. It worked out pretty
I
well.
liked it. Good work.
So you wrote with that guy that just popped up right now.
Yeah, that comedian.
You and your husband Dustin wrote Love on the Right Course, which is one of those movies in the Brittany Marcus Ashley universe that you were
Mhm.
talking
Yeah.
about. That
The BAM. The
yeah,
BAM universe.
bam, there we go.
I just thought of that for the first
We
time.
just
That's
coined
embarrassing.
it. We just coined it. We just coined
I
it.
like it. Anyone's listening, the BAM universe is here.
So
We're
let it be
here, we're
written.
ready, tired.
Literally, so let it be written, so let it be done.
Exactly.
So within this BAM universe, you
Yeah.
and Dustin wrote Love on the Right Course. And so I want to pick your brain. I'm probably going to ask a million questions at once, so I apologize because I'm genuinely curious. But was this your first time writing a script that got picked up by a network? What was that process like? And then what was it like being an actor and then writing? Like, can you visualize the scene since you've been in front of the camera? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Go.
I don't know how to say
Yeah.
that, but
Okay.
yeah.
Go. No, I love it. Um, Writing was something that I had dabbled in before, but yes, it was the first thing I'd written that was picked up. I'd written with a writing partner of mine from years ago, a series. We wrote the first script to a series and we had blocked out a ton of other episodes, and it was a really fun series and we were really excited about it. And then Euphoria came out, and we were like, just kidding. Never mind. Someone else had it first. So, that ended up never going anywhere, obviously. But this was the first time that I'd sort of dove in and started writing again. And it was really fun because so when Dustin and I first started dating, our second date was at the driving range. And I hadn't golfed in years, but I was like, oh, he likes golf. I used to golf. I could do this. It's like riding a bike, right? I don't like riding a bike. Um, but hard no. But we went to the driving range, and then golf sort of became this thing that was a part of a relationship, and we started dating just like in the year leading up to COVID. So when COVID hit, suddenly golf was like one of the few things you could still do
Mm.
because you couldn't go to the movies, you couldn't go to dinner, but you could still go golfing. So it was something we started doing more and more during COVID because also it was like the one time you were allowed to be outside and like be in a car with another person without getting a ticket. So we were like, let's do that because that sounds like not going crazy. And that not going crazy sounds fun. So then when we went to visit his parents who have a place in Florida, we went down there and we were golfing, and suddenly I was like, it'd be so fun to write a movie about a girl who's a golfer. He was like, that would be really fun. And then we sort of just started brainstorming and came up with this idea, and then we just decided to start writing it. We were like, well, let's just do it. It would be so fun. Let's develop it. And then it was really fun because yes, as an actor, there's so many times where, you're looking at a scene and you're like, oh, but this is how I would say it, or this is how like this would make sense. Or if you're writing, like you can kind of put yourself in the scene and figure out what works best. And it was one of those things where we were able to sort of like talk out all of the scenes as we were writing, which was really fun because we were
Yeah.
writing people falling in love. So we're like, this is really fun. Like, let's play with our banter. Let's do all those things. And so it was really fun to sort of build it and develop it. And of course, like one thing I think a lot of people don't realize, especially in this world, is that like when you hand a script over, work is still being done on it when you give it up. So like you hand it over and then like things still change and scenes will still be rewritten, and like there is a lot that still is adjusted before and as it's in production, which is always like a little hard to let go of. You're like, no, but it is just what it is. It's par for the course.
I
Golf
see
fun.
what you did there. I see what you did there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so clever. Um, but yeah, so it was really fun and we really enjoyed writing it together, and We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of like get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and make coffee and struggle to open your eyes and then start writing at 5 a.m. until Dustin had to leave for work. And, we had a lot of mornings like that, but it was really fun. And I think it was something that we really enjoyed doing together. And I definitely think we would adventure into that realm again, should we have the time and another idea that could spark it. And it's something that I think sort of gave me the courage to try to put my stamp on a few more things and start helping on the development side of projects. And that's something I'm excited about. I'm doing more of moving into 2025. So yeah, it was a fun adventure and a huge learning experience. And yeah, I think I answered everything.
I think you
Maybe.
did too. I think you did too. I have literally like a King Arthur scroll worth of more questions, but I know we don't have time. So what I'm going to
Six
do,
days later.
correct. But this could be like a week's masterclass download. But you said you mentioned how if you have the time again, because you, ma'am, are booked and busy, and one of those projects you were booked on has been called My Sweet Austrian Holiday. I know that was a British accent, but I can't quite
No, I
nail
liked
like
it.
that. Thank you. And so it recently aired, and like real recently, as in yesterday, recently aired
Last night
on
on Hallowismas.
Hollow.
I'm really trying to coin it. It's a terrible title
Girl,
for,
I love it. I
but
love
Hallowismas.
Are you still? No, you literally blew my mind right now. Like I'm this is real time, like me taking this in. Like I love it. So Halloween, like, why hasn't that been a thing? You need to go back to the
I
writing room now.
be
We
the
gotta
first
have
person to have said it, but I really felt it. I said it to myself yesterday, and then I commented it on one of Will's posts, and then I was like, "This is my word now. Everything's gonna be Hallowismas today." And then I just
Halloween.
wouldn't stop using it. So
I'm down. We need a movie. Can you write a movie that goes from Halloween to Christmas? Like, can that be a thing? Like that goes from Halloween to Thanksgiving to Christmas. I feel like that would be so dope.
I think we should talk about this.
Oh my
I think we should talk about this.
Oh my God. Like, no, my mind is the ripple effect is still happening of my mind being blown. I'm just letting you
Okay.
know. Like
And there's like
that's
one person within the couple that like hates Christmas and one
come on,
person hates Christmas and the opposite loves Halloween and hates Halloween.
y'all.
When do we start writing? And then like there's the best friends and they meet at the Thanksgiving dinner or something. And then there's like another romance. Bing, bang, boom.
Like a
Done.
friendsgiving. It's the
Yeah.
friendsgiving that Brittany, stop. Okay. How do I get back into my line of questioning? I don't even know where I was.
You're
My
distracted.
sweet
We need to write movies now.
no, like what is happening? Right. It was an Austrian Christmas because it premiered on
Yes.
Halloween. My
Yes.
Sweet Austrian Holiday, and it was the second in the Miracles of Christmas lineup.
Mhm.
And is this your first movie being on like at the time it was Movies and Mysteries, now it's Hallmark Mystery, but you're normally on channel and now you're on the network that kind of takes the more kind of dramatic, more
Mhm.
serious tone to the movies. Were you
Yeah.
expecting this movie to be put on that network?
You know what? I didn't really have an expectation either way. I was like, wherever it ends up, I'm excited. Hallmark wants it. That's great. Um, that was my initial reaction. Yay.
I
Um,
appreciate that.
yeah, I was like, I don't know, but they want it, which is great. I was really excited that Hallmark was excited about it. And then when it ended up, I didn't know it was going to be on Hallmark Mysteries. But when it was, I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I admittedly, because I haven't had a project on that network, well, not network, but on that channel,
Yeah.
I didn't really know like what the tone of those projects
Mm.
tends to look like. Obviously, they air the mystery movies on that network, but I was like, oh, I'm curious, like, what about our film brought it to that one. And I do think, the more and more I've thought about it, I think there is an aspect to the film where it really doesn't shy away from the hard aspects of having difficult relationships or
Hmm.
missing people. I
Hmm.
think it really, like Will's character, really got to have a dysfunctional relationship with his dad. And my character really had an opportunity to be in a position where she felt entirely lost without her Oma. And I think the sadness that my character navigates in potentially losing sort of her last attachment to somebody is something that's a really big thing for people at the holidays. There's always a first holiday without someone. There's
Yeah.
always a first holiday on your own. There's always a first holiday. There's always a first for the things that don't feel good. And I think for her, there was a bit of the potential of this being the last holiday in a place that meant so much to her, her entire life, was really heartbreaking because it was almost like losing her Oma all over again. At least that's how it felt to me.
Yeah.
Because it is that, you know, when you have that thing that represents this person that meant the whole world to you, and then you lose that, it's almost more painful
Yeah.
because you're then having to let go of the thing that holds every good memory, every minute of hope, every
Absolutely.
joyful experience, and then the fear of what it's going to look like to have to rebuild what normal looks like for you and to
Man.
start. And the fact that she would then have to potentially look at Christmas next year, not where she's always spent it, not in the home that she has, and without anything that reminds her of her Oma except for the physical things like decorations. And that's really heartbreaking. And I think subsequently, it is something that it does sort of allow us to sort of lean into that a little bit. And I do think that perhaps that's why it really didn't shy away from that. And for Will, again, the relationship with his father, I think, is something that there can be dissonance, but I haven't really seen somebody fully dive into what it looks like to have a dysfunctional parent-child relationship to that extent,
Hmm.
especially between a man and his father. So I think perhaps that was part of it as well.
And it
But
was even through all that, it was still, which is that Hallmark magic, it was still able to be communicated through this beautiful, like cozy, warm
Mhm.
Christmas package. And it was like on a platter, just like, well, here you go. And the most like
Yeah,
nice, soothing. That's a word, soothing. Like
soothing.
it was very soothing. Like
Mhm.
the temperament of it was very kind of just I can't even say chill. It was just soothing. Like watching
Mhm.
both characters navigate those struggles, but yet you still have this beautiful setting of being in Vienna and the like chocolate. I mean chocolate. So
I
like
know. I know
and
so
then
much of it.
oh my gosh, and there's a ball which that just I love me a Christmas ball. Like I
Right? You can't go wrong.
you cannot. If there's a ball in any Christmas movie, it's just like, well, I'm there. Like you got me hook, line, and
Mhm.
sinker. But so that was what like to hear you communicate that and then to even think about like how all of that was still wrapped in this beautiful Christmas package. Like
Mhm.
it was really, really beautiful. It was really, really beautiful.
I'm
Um,
so glad.
yeah. Now I don't mean to change the tone, but how much chocolate did you eat? Because I'm wondering like,
Not enough, okay? Not enough. I was upset. I was upset. I did not get to eat a lot of chocolate. And I was hurt. I did
oh,
get to eat a little bit. I did a lesson, and then this was before filming when the lesson was happening. I got to eat a ton of chocolate, and I was like, yummy, eating all the chocolate. This is going to be hard on set. And then everybody else had to eat chocolate in like It didn't seem like it was the easiest to eat it and then do a scene while eating it, so I was kind of okay with it.
Gotcha. Okay.
But then I did like take some.
As you should. As you should.
I was joking. I was like, I might not have gotten to eat a ton while I was filming, but let me tell you, last night
I saw your
I did buy
story.
a bag of chocolate from Costco. So that tells you how much chocolate there was in my house. And we had trick-or-treaters, but we did not have that many trick-or-treaters.
Yeah. Like, oh,
I may have eaten enough chocolate that like I could have probably built my entire head out of it. I ate about this much chocolate last night,
no,
and it was
I
delicious.
fully support that. I fully support that.
You're
Um,
gonna tell it with have to.
I have to ask, out of all of the different professions your characters have had over the years, you were like
Yeah.
a dog shelter owner
Mhm.
slash breeder, tale of
Mhm.
love. We have writer, story of love. We have you worked at a Christmas shop and wrapped for Christmas. We have high school teacher in Just Jake and or in
Mhm.
barista in Just Jake.
Yeah.
We have chocolatier, and I know I'm missing some. And you've
Mhm.
worked for like a matchmaker and a royal matchmaker, and like
Yeah.
you've worked in a perfume. Like you've had some
I've
pretty
been a
cool
professional
careers.
ice skater.
Come on. Like you've had some really cool careers as
Yeah.
characters. If you could just magically wake up one day and had one of those careers and you were just like an expert in it, like you would actually be sufficient in that skill. What which of the professions of your characters would you want to magically wake up and be in?
That is such a tough question. But you know what? As much as I want to say chocolatier, because like just
I mean the chocolate, yeah.
um I've noticed something about chocolatiers. They don't eat a lot of chocolate, and I like chocolate, and I want to eat all the chocolate. So I'm gonna keep the chocolate eating and not the chocolate making, because I'm never gonna stop eating chocolate.
This is why you are
It's a
girl. This is
it's
why
a
we rock with you. Come on.
it's a
Hmm.
but I was um a like superstar interior designer in the Love Club. And I feel like interior designer would be very fun. However, the other thing, I think it sparks joy in me because I have like definite A-type personality traits, like having too many highlighters. Um, my character in the movie that I do with Marcus that is coming out this Christmas,
Oh.
I play a romantic event planner. And I feel like that would be so fun to like plan people's engagements. Are you kidding? To watch people like decide to spend the rest of their lives together and just like lose their minds because they're so happy. I feel like that would be so much fun. Or like weddings, or like the best dates, like just all of the dates from The Bachelor. Like
I
that would be
love
so fun.
that.
Yeah.
A romantic event. I love that.
So that one you haven't seen me play yet. My character's like ever so slightly psycho,
Uh-oh.
but I love her. So yeah,
Uh-oh.
Dustin saw the first, so we got a screener of it because they send screeners and blah, blah, blah. And I don't watch the movies before they air. Like I can't physically do it because I panic. So I have to watch them when I know that the rest of the audience is watching them.
Oh wow.
I don't know why.
Okay.
Probably I don't know. I don't know what it says about me, but
Oh.
that's the thing. Remember when I said like crazy EDM? This is that part. So just calling it back. So yeah, I haven't seen the whole movie, but I watched the first 10 minutes and Dustin was sitting with me and he looked at me and he was like, "Oh, you're kind of crazy." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "You're kind of nuts in this movie." And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And he was like, "I like." I was like, "Yeah." Kind of nuts.
I love it.
Because my character's having like a low key, tiny little mentee bee at the beginning, and it's fine. But she's having like a full blown crazy person moment at the beginning of the movie, and it's very funny to watch.
Is does Marcus's character like cancel you out? Like he's like mad type B, like very chill, even kill. Like does he just kind of
Um,
like or does he add fuel to your fire?
He's definitely not type A in this movie. We complement each other very well, but it's very funny because just to give a little snippet, I don't want to, give away too much, but at the beginning, there's this scene, and what was quite funny about it was my first day on set, and I had one scene on my first day, and Marcus and this production company, they've been working together for a while. So like the whole crew knows each other. They're all friends. And I walk on and I'm the new girl in town. And I have this specific scene that Dustin turned to me and said, "Oh, you're a little crazy." I do this scene, and it's my first and only scene on my first day. And it is 5.5 pages of me talking at Marcus.
Ooh.
And he goes, "Well, no." And I go, blah, 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 blah. Then he's like, "But," and I'm like, "Nah, nah, nah." So it's just him having little moments of like interrupting me and me just talking at him. And I was very nervous, but it's very funny because Marcus is just like so like, "No, no." And I'm like, and those are not English words, any of that. I didn't give away any of the dialogue, but there you go. That's our dynamic. And
Like that, because that's, I mean, we vibe here, so it's like as long as we get the vibe, like
yeah,
we know what to expect when we go in. That's
yeah,
that I'm looking forward to watching that, and that one's on Lifetime, I believe, that
yeah.
airs
December 22nd,
December 22nd. I was gonna say it's later
yeah.
on in the Christmas
Like
season.
right before Christmas, which is perfect.
Perfect,
Just start
perfect.
saying.
Yes, I love it. Like
Yeah,
bookends that I got.
I like those. Those are cool.
But back to Sweet Austrian
Mhm.
Holiday.
Yes, absolutely.
Can we talk a little bit about the location? My goodness, that the set was stunning.
I
Like,
know.
and I know you didn't film it like during the Christmas season, but like, did you feel all the warm fuzzies of like I feel like that they perfectly it could have been 112 degrees and I still would have felt a chill
Oh
because
yeah.
of how much they
It
create, like it was so beautiful.
They did such a good job. And it's something that I've talked about quite a bit is like we just had such an incredible team. And Perrin, who is this, she's amazing. She's from Belgium and she does a lot of projects with my parents. She just, she deserves Oscars. Like it's
Uh,
so beautiful.
it
Everything
is.
she makes is so beautiful. Everything she designs is so beautiful. She had such an incredible team with her. And yeah, it was just, I mean, the chocolate shop was so beautiful and it felt so rich and so
Yes. Yes.
soothing and warm and fuzzy. I walked in there and I was like, "Oh, I love it here. Do I have to leave? I want to do the whole movie in here." And then we went to the next one and I was like, "Oh, I like it here too. I want to stay here now forever." And then again, further, like it's just a higher pitched every time. But it was amazing. They did such an incredible job. And like it was so funny. There was one day, so we shot this movie in the summertime, and it was so hot this one day.
Mm.
So hot. And they were wetting down everything for the Christmas market. And I looked up and I was like, "I feel cold." And I was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Look at the buildings, the way that they've wet it with the like snow and the fact that it's a Christmas market. And there's all these Christmas decorations." I was like, "It looks cold." And then I looked at the screen and I was like, "It looks cold. How does it look cold?
I
I'm
love it.
sweating profusely and I'm red in the cheeks, not because I'm cold, but because I'm overheating. Why does everything look cold? I'm so confused, but it looked cold.
I love it.
It was great.
I love it. That makes
I
me so
was
happy.
It was so fun. I was like, "Guys, it looks cold. Are you cold? I'm cold. It looks cold." Anyways, it was very fun.
It definitely communicated because I think I forget if I said this offline or
Mhm.
online, but like it was so snuggly. Like it was so like it felt cold. Like what you said.
I
Like it
know.
really
It felt
did.
cold and like you just needed a blanket and a hot
Yeah.
cup of cocoa.
Yes. So I loved it. I loved it immensely. So thank you. Just thank you for keep
Thank
doing
you.
movies.
Thank you, because honestly, like I get to do these movies because people cheer me on. So thank you. Because I would be nowhere without you and without everybody watching them. So
Man.
really truly.
I miss Brittany Bristow. So sorry, I'm yelling so loud. I'm just so excited.
That's okay.
So
I like it. Yell at
we
me.
we talked about engaged for Christmas, but is there anything else? Can you give us like the most microscopic of glimpses into
Mhm.
2025 and what we might maybe hypothetically can expect from Camp
Um,
Bristow for 2025?
Yeah, I said earlier, one of the things that I'm really interested in doing is working a little bit more with developing projects. And so that's sort of, I think, where 2025 is headed right
Mm,
now. I don't have anything set in stone, but there is one project that I'm not developing that a director has reached out to me about that I might be working on. It just depends on financing and all that jazz. So we'll figure that one out. But I have three projects that I'm working on developing right now that I'm really excited about. Um, Two are with these incredible writers, Maggie and Larry, and they have two scripts that are absolutely incredible. And I'm taking them around to a couple places right now to see who agrees that they're amazing and seeing about getting those made. And then I'm developing a project as well. Sort of with my parents, but also with a writer named Kate Pregnell, and she's amazing. She is married to Corey Sevier, actually, so people may know of her. She's written so many amazing movies. There was one that Corey did. Oh gosh, what was the girl's name?
Vanessa Lynges.
Yes, Vanessa. I think Kate wrote one of those projects, and it was like
Yes,
so fantastic.
yes,
Kate's an incredible writer. She writes
yeah.
all the time, does so many rom-coms. She's amazing. She's so funny, and I adore her. And her and I are working on something right now. She's writing it, but I'm working on it as a producer, and hopefully we'll be starring in it one day when it eventually becomes a real we're making it movie.
Yeah.
And it was an idea I had about a year ago and have just been sort of developing it since. And she's doing an incredible job of bringing it to life. She's a far better writer than me, which is why I'm not writing it. I'm really excited for that one. And so I've got three projects in the works as a producer and hopefully star of those projects. And then, yeah, just sort of seeing what piques my interest. I'm really excited about being able to participate a little bit more hands-on in some of the work that I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's really exciting for me. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for whatever comes next year. As long as I get to keep doing what I love, I'm going to be happy. So fingers crossed I get a job, at some
Yes.
point.
Oh, I know you will.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, so
I
I've
bet the
got three
farm.
things in the works on my own, and then one thing that hopefully will come to fruition with a director in the
I
States.
love
So I'm
that.
excited. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Brittany, I want to thank you so much for coming back into the home of Dear Hallmark. It's such a pleasure
Oh,
to always.
it's one of my favorite places.
Oh, thank you so much.
I like
It's
it
such
here.
Yes, and we like you, which is why we want you to come back. And so, before I let you go, I just want to give you the space to say whatever it is you want to say, and I'll give you the last words here.
Oh my gosh. I always get so like, I want to say the right thing, but I love that you do this. I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to you, and I want to say thank you to everyone who's listening. I truly am so grateful for the life that I get to live and for what I get to do. My entire goal as an actor has always been to give someone who's having a bad day or a bad week, bad month, bad year an escape. It was what I needed when I was a little kid, and it's why I loved movies so much. They were 2 hours of my day where nothing mattered except the sleepover I was at or the boy I had a crush on in the movie, because of course, not real life sleepovers. What were those? But that's what I needed as a little kid was an opportunity to have 2 hours where the world was bright and hopeful. And I feel so grateful that I'm getting to do that now. And yeah, so thank you.
Wow, beautifully spoken by the wonderful Brittany Bristow. And if you haven't already, all Christmas season, be sure to check out My Sweet Austrian Holiday. It's going to be on the Hallmark Mystery Channel. Be sure to catch that. You can just go into the Hallmark Checklist app and search it, and it'll tell you the next time it will air. So that way you can watch it live, and you can also DVR it so you can watch it over and over and over to get your cozy Christmas feels. And so, everyone, with that, she's Brittany. I'm Dara, and this is Dear Hallmark. I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Ciao, my friends.